Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Form of Therapy. My name is Jayok PD, and today I will be reacting to a brand new comeback from ifeye for Hazy, or there's subtitle for it, Daisy. So, this is ifeye's second comeback. This is their third promotion. They're a rookie girl group, and they got a lot of attention with Nerdy. And Nerdy was a little lukewarm when I first heard the song or watched the music video. But when I saw the live performances, what's wrong with me? Like, it really started growing on me. But I will admit, I became a fan or a tentative fan after Are You Okay? Are You Okay was quite the jam. It is, quite literally, my third most re-listened to girl group song of 2025, right behind Descendez, Bloom, and Triple S's Bubblegum Girl. And so I loved Are You Okay? Was so obsessed with it. Of all the songs to move me and get me shaken, Are You Okay was the top song of that year. So because of that, I am pretty excited to tune in to ifeye. I've been waiting for this comeback. In fact, I was so disappointed that they had no presence at any of the award show stages because they're still a very small group, because I would have loved to see some performances of Are You Okay on the big stages. However, I am entering a little cautiously as well. I'm a little worried and wary of this comeback. So we'll see how it goes, and then we'll talk about it after. Let's get into it. This is Hazy or Daisy by ifeye. Let's go. Pure silence? And even some Foley work would have been nice in that opening. Hazy Daisy. Okay. Museum artwork, Cupid references. Interesting. So it's got like the fast energy of Are You Okay? The drum and bass is really giving it that urgency, but those chords are a little closer to something like Nerdy. I like the vocal delivery on that. So are they themselves the Cupid? Or are they playing Cupid? Going around repairing love everywhere, bringing people back to life. God, I love Lai's voice so much. I've I've got some mixed feelings about this one. By the end, I was really won over by the song. I like the song a lot. I don't know if I like it for If I. Now, that's a tentative statement. That is totally malleable. The thing is, If I is in a pretty good position to be doing something like this, in that from nerdy to Are You Okay to now Hazy Daisy, there's kind of no consistent sound. And that is both a good thing and a bad thing. It allows them to not be pigeonholed into something out the gate. But if you also don't have an established sound and you don't establish it quick, you're going to fail to garner traction, and you're going to fail to garner fans. And you need that early on. And I don't think If I is going to... I don't think they're going to ever put out bad songs. Like, this is a good song. And I think something I noticed with Nerdy, Are You Okay, and Hazy Daisy, their musicality is great. The songs are not average. I just don't know what makes If I yet. And maybe it's because there's several things at play. So I loved Are You Okay? In fact, I know a lot of people loved Are You Okay? It was chic, it was different, and it caught on early into that house genre that is so prevalent right now. And it especially that one was so freaking chic and kitschy. I was really hoping that they would capitalize on it. I feel like they got a lot of new fans with that one. And this is, rather than capitalizing on it, this is such a huge pivot and turn. I feel like Nerdy, it was a little bit more blank. It wasn't trying to be anything specific in terms of like being super feminine. It wasn't trying to be super cutesy. It was just kind of beautiful. And because of the aesthetics of like, they were more in their school outfits and stuff like that. And then Are You Okay was a little bit more hip. It was a little bit more trendy. It was a bit more chic. And now this is like a complete aesthetic turn, being more romantic and being a little bit more feminine and a little bit more cutesy. So that's sending a lot of mixed signals. Now, for me, I typically like all of these genres. That's not a problem. But for a lot of people, they kind of only like one or two things, and people have limited aesthetic palettes. And so that does make me worry of like how people are going to digest this. And I wonder, is it because I just really liked Are You Okay that much? That was a worry I had when I heard that they completely replaced the entire If I team. They replaced the If I team that was that had been working with them up until now, the team that had brought Are You Okay to life. And I thought, oh, that's a strange move. Like, they had, in my opinion, their most creative output to date. Maybe financially that wasn't that great, and that's why they did that. But I thought it was just like their most musically and creatively interesting thing that they did. And rather than at least trying it for a couple more rounds to completely replace them, I was worried of, okay, what is this going to be like? What is this going to sound like? And then I think I looked into the credits of the people that were replacing the previous guard, and it kind of gave me the vibes of, oh, it's going to sound more like just any other girl group. And I think that's what it is. When I think of If I can't necessarily with Nerdy and Are You Okay even, I'll be fair, I can't place what makes their songs their songs. They're still too early in their career to define what makes their sound very specifically theirs. But that's also not an excuse that, oh, they're too early in their careers. If you think about it, a group like Disenne, which is my favorite girl group on the market, Disenne is super early into their rookie careers. They are underdogs. They're at a small label, and yet their sound is so specific to them, and it is very well established and very well developed. And so that's not necessarily an excuse we can be making here. But when I listen to something like this song in particular, I think it's really good. I would give this like a strong 7.5, but I don't think it's missing like this extra little pop that could really jump it over to like an 8 or a 9 and make it great and fantastic. Right now, I'm just thinking, oh, this is a dope girl group song, but it's also a dope girl group song because it's hitting on things that are your typical norms that make you enjoy these types of things. First off, the contrast between this fast, urgent feeling from the drum and bass with these slow minor chords. When you do that, when you combine minor chords, like music is all in art in general, is all about contrast. And so when you combine the contrast of these slow minor chord keys and you get that sound, that synth, and then you have like this percussion texture with the drum and bass, they balance each other out and they create like this much more ambiguous romantic feeling. And you like that. It's creating an artificial kind of like pit-a-pat in your heart. And so that's great. But then the way that I know these girls are capable of more because of how much I thoroughly enjoyed Nerdy and Are You Okay? I even so much as went and listened to their album. I don't know if their vocals are and their top lining is being put to the best use here. There was that one part near the end where I just like felt like I got to appreciate Lai's voice for like the first time. But the thing I really liked about Are You Okay? Are You Okay in particular? It's not just that beat was super chic. It's the fact that every single like vocal part, every girl sounded unique, and it made me interested in every single member. Here, they kind of all just blend together, and only very rarely in certain parts does I think someone really stood out in that part, and they were directed to stand out in that part. And so, what I'm trying to get to my point is, this song sounds like it could have been like done or given by any other girl group, but then if you have any other girl group, they also might have taken it up higher notches because their vocal directions and styles are much more developed. Like this sound in particular, this song in particular, I can imagine Descenda doing this. I can imagine Stacy doing this. And I think Stacy would have like really added like this nice chicness that's really, really good. And that's the thing too. I feel like there are like some vocal potentials within If I that kind of remind me of Stacey, of like, oh, you have like a really interesting chic voice. I think Lahi in particular has a really chic voice, like someone like Xion or something like that. And you know, I will say one thing I really liked about this song and video is that it featured one of the other members that I really like, which is Miu. I liked her like in the nerdy stuff. I really liked her in Are You Okay? And I felt like I didn't get enough of her in Are You Okay? And then I feel like I got a lot of her here. And I really liked that, but I also feel like I didn't vocally get enough of her. And I wonder if one of the missing things about this is the fact that Sasha's not here. Sasha is, I will admit, my favorite. Sasha was the one that really drew me in Are You Okay? Sasha, she has a very interesting vocal tone, and her style of rapping, it adds a really nice, colorful texture. And it does make me wonder if her voice had been on this song, if it would have been like this song, I think, is like just right on the cusp. It's like a 7.5. But up until this point, something about If I always had this very kind of chicness about them. There was something very unique about them, and I don't see that fully utilized here. And so, is it the new team? Is it the change in musical color and direction? Or is it Sasha that's missing, that is missing the full ingredient? Or is it a combination of all three? I don't know. I'll leave that question up to you guys. But let's go ahead and, hey, let's watch and listen to this one more time. Who knows? Opinions can always change. I did want to get like a better grasp on the video of what the plot line is. So the video had visual inspiration and elements of showing Cupid. I do think that this is just a very silent, awkward opening, even if it's only like 2 seconds. I think some Foley work would have been nice. Just hearing like like that mechanical printing sound. And then when the synths come in, I think that would have been a very nice kind of like a wake up splash for your nervous system. And it would have like more profound effect musically. So museum gallery, portraits of Cupid, love complaint. As if. Play on ifeye. Love complaint receiver. Got it. So they're like Cupid, but they take your love complaints and they fix it. They're like Cupid that fixes love problems. So one thing I will say, while I'm a little iffy about a little iffy about the song, I think the music video is spectacular. That is something that I think across the board, ifeye has always knocked out of the park. Nerdy, Are You Okay? And here as well. Their music videos are extremely well made. Now, I don't think this music video, unfortunately, it lacks the fun of Are You Okay? But I think it's really, really well made. So even from that transition out in the garden into this room, was right into the shot of Miyu, is a great transition. The live dynamic lighting work and then like the acting of like, oh, the lights went off. Stuff like that really gives a music video personality. Like they're in the middle of performing and then their performance gets interrupted. And then that transitions into the next scene, you know, and even adding like the tracking shots of their feet going across. They're going out into the hallway to investigate. And now you see like this red flickering light. It makes sense in like if a building's lights go out, like the emergency lights are on, but it's also like emulating the drum and bass percussion, if you think about it, right? And kind of looks like party lights. So that's really, really well done. Taking a bunch of love complaints. That's a great transition too, right there. That side corner, them dancing, and that side corner, I guess like it looks like a mirror. And then zooming in and cutting to that next dance scene was really good. All their scenes are so fun. Gosh, look at even that shot. So the aerial shot, it's not the aerial. The above overhead shot is already great. It's already interesting. And then the side angle tilting Dutch shot where as she's like moving her hand and the camera's tilting, and then the shot was above. Now it's on the floor, but it's transitioning with the glove falling, kind of like someone that got beat up in a ring. And then it turns into a sliding tracking shot going over to Kaisa and then zooming in on her. Such great camera work. That's just great camera work. And everyone's arguing. It's, you know, symbolic of everyone in a relationship arguing. Couples having fights. And then later on towards the video, we see that, oh, everyone's peaceful and lovey-dovey. Even right here, this person's knocked out, so Rai like uses like these heart defibrillators to wake him up and gives him the bouquet of flowers, which he then uses on the girl. Everyone here is arguing and fighting. I also just like how they're giving it like this very glitchy toy box visual look. It gives that like almost like stop motion like digital 8-bit. They're like playing on like that digital 8-bit video game look, because the aesthetic of the hearts are like video game hearts, right? So their movements look a little bit more toy like, and that's really fun. And then That was all just like a beautiful oneer. And then everyone stops fight. Like they zoom in on her and then they zoom back out and track back. And everyone's all made up now. It's a very well-made music video. Even these shots right here, I have to compliment. So look at this oscillating shot where we're focusing purely on Kaisa. So we're focusing on her. And then it's the exact same. It's like well, a completely different set, but it's the exact same angle, but mid oscillating. And then they cut to another close up while it's continuing the oscillation. So that's kind of like a pet peeve I have of like sometimes you're like doing this tracking shot and then it cuts and then it doesn't do the full rotation. They're doing this rotation all the way from. They're starting all the way here, and they're intercutting, but the shot is continuing, and it keeps going and going and going, while every time it punches in on Kaisa. That's really, really dope. And then, yeah, everyone's all made up in the boxing ring now. No one's fighting. I also just love their framing. This is like a gorgeous cinematic framing. The lighting is absolutely peak. Looks really dramatic. Even their framing, the way that they're all posed and standing, looks more like a photo shoot sort of visual art. You know, we saw in the beginning, it's them standing in the or walking through the museum gallery. So it's kind of like a little bit more like a painting, more like a poster that they're something like you would see in an art gallery, the way that they're posed. Like it's in the subtle language of the shot design of this entire music video. It has it just has really artistic framing. A lot of great use of negative space here. A lot of great use of negative space here. A lot of great use of negative space here. A lot of great use of negative space there. This is a great video team. I can't get over the fact that, so Rai's in both shots right there. They use that as a transitional element. I can't get over how good their camera work is and how much, obviously that shot of Rai in this, it's stitched together and part of it is a green screen shot, but still. So tracking like this, and then now we're slowly zooming in. There's so much intentional camera work in this music video as opposed to just hyper cutting constantly. So notice the difference. Suddenly we're quick cutting a lot, but the effect is, I mean, one, the drum and bass came back in, right? You had the fast drums coming back in, right? So that element is enhanced only because previously we had a lot of these like slow one take camera elements. So right now, I think really for me, I would give this pretty high marks. I would love to give it much more high marks, just because I think Are You Okay was over the top, fantastic. It's not at that level. However, what is doing, I think, a lot of heavy lifting is this music video. The music video gives this song and gives the music videos kind of like aesthetic world a lot of personality rather than just feeling like anything else. You know, I react for a living. I'm reacting to music videos all the time. And so it's hard to find, in my opinion, a music video that has such vibrant, chic personality. And that is something that I think translates for ifeye. From Are You Okay, you know, even nerdy. From nerdy to Are You Okay to Hazy Daisy, my gosh, I blanked for a second. To Hazy Daisy, something that translates is the visual language of like, there's something a little bit weird about them, and I like it, but it's like subtle. It's like the shots of like Rahi stone faced looking off to the side. It's stuff like that that kind of makes it a little odd, but in a good way. But again, you'll also have to translate that musically. I'm not getting that with this song. Maybe the rest of the album, this is accompanied by a third mini album. Maybe the rest of the album will have that, but we'll see. We'll see. I do think that having Sasha on this would have made me like it a little more. I think I'm going to give this team the benefit of the doubt. I think, new team, there's an adjustment period. I also don't think it's the worst thing. I think it's good. I just don't think it had like the same ifeye sauce and magic from before, but also that might just be because Sasha's missing. Hopefully Sasha comes back soon, and hopefully we don't have to wait as long for the next comeback from Are You Okay to Hazy Daisy was, I think, a huge and a long wait, and it felt huge and long to me. I think it's normal for a group of this size, but I wanted it much faster, and so hopefully we'll see them back sooner, even if it's a single. That's how much I like them. And hopefully we can start working these things out. But I want to ask you the question: what did you think of ifeye's Hazy Daisy? Let me know in the comments down below. With that in mind, I like them so much, I will be giving their album a listen. That'll be out in May. If you want to tune in, head on over to patreon.com/formatherapy. I do bonus reactions over there. This month, I added some bonus drops for a lot of BTS content, as well as the listening party for Top's Another Dimension, and also TXT's new 7th Year album. So those are out early. If you want to check them out, head on over to the Patreon. Of course, you don't have to support me monetarily if you don't want to. That's completely fine. You can always hit the like button down below, and you can subscribe over here. That's a free way to support the channel, and I'd appreciate it. You can go ahead and check out any of my other reactions up here, and that's going to be it for me. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.